Mr. Chediek, thank you very much for being here with us. Your presence here shows the appreciation the UN South-South cooperation team has to the Brazil-Africa relations. What are the impressions you had here today?
I'm very impressed by the commitment of the participants of the forum to find new ways to deepen the partnership between Brazil and Africa. This is a very natural partnership because there are a lot of affinities, cultural, geographic, historical, between Brazil and the continent. And in the last few years, many relations of a broad scope were developed between the continent and Brazil. And here we had actors from the private sector, governments, civil society organizations, international organizations that are engaged in deepening this partnership. So the impressions are very good, and I'm very confident that further deepening of the partnerships will result as a consequence of this event.
Okay. What is the role of the United Nations and its specialized agencies in promoting South-South and triangular cooperation in general? And how is the strategic approach towards youth empowerment?
Well, all the UN agencies have been mandated by the General Assembly and by the different governing bodies to support more South-South and triangular cooperation. And it has expanded significantly in the last few years. Many more organizations are engaging and devoting resources and institutional commitments to doing more on South-South cooperation. So, to give you an example, last year we prepared a report and we had 31 agencies of the United Nations that are engaged in supporting South-South cooperation. So it has become a very important component of the toolbox and the mandates of the different organizations. Regarding cooperation on youth empowerment, it's very important because the South is young in general. 9 out of 10 young people between 10 and 24 years of age live in the South, and they are protagonists of their own future and their own destiny. So in addition for them to be part of the lives of their societies, having them advance their own opportunities and also assuming further responsibilities is necessary, because we used to say the youth owns the future. No, the youth owns the present, and they have to take hold of it and work in partnership with all the other generations to build a future for their own countries and for the world that is viable and sustainable.
Most South-South cooperation efforts seem to come from governments and intergovernmental organizations, or at least the ones labeled as South-South cooperation. How can non-governmental actors increase South-South cooperation between Brazil and Africa specifically?
There are many that are doing it. The forum is an example of that, with the Institute committing to doing that. There are more institutional limitations. Sometimes for CSOs and non-governmental organizations, it's more difficult to mobilize funding, to get the institutional support you need to mobilize great numbers of people. So that's why in our case we were very pleased to engage and support this particular effort as an example on how a non-governmental organization can really become an actor in South-South and triangular cooperation. And I think we all look to explore further opportunities to support other actors that perform similar functions.
Both Brazil and Africa have suffered from major interrelated challenges regarding hunger, food security, malnutrition, and agriculture crisis. Brazil has successfully addressed many of these challenges during the past years and has cooperated with African countries in this field. Could you mention any particular effort that you see potential for even more replication? And second, how to avoid fallbacks in the efforts towards zero hunger, which is the SDG number 2?
Well, Brazil has done great in terms of cooperating with Africa. First, it developed model policies here. Around Fome Zero, zero hunger, the Brazil policy, they incorporated technologies to improve productivity, also to develop markets for smallholders, also to ensure that infant malnutrition was very strongly addressed at the source. So really it was an integral approach that was very successful. Many African countries took the whole package or some components of it. And I want to highlight one of them, that is the school feeding program. That the school feeding not only provides adequate nutrition to young children and that also at the same time helps with their academic development. By the way it was designed in Brazil and it's been implemented in many countries in Africa, helps also smallholders by providing markets to their commodities. Also, it promotes the culture of the local feeding. So it is an integral program that solves several problems at once at a very limited cost. So that is the type of programs that can be expanded and should be expanded. And in the case of avoiding fallbacks, this type of public programs need to have continuity in time, and also be constantly improved and perfected, because solving a particular development challenge generates new challenges. So policymakers should always be attentive to enhancing, fine-tuning, improving, and even launching new initiatives to ensure that we achieve the 2030 agenda, including SDG 2.
Okay, that's it. Thank you very much.
Thank you.